Greetings, everybody. Wakia here, also known as Thunder. Well, I'm going to get thunderous today because I'm looking at this peace thing, this Minsk 2 peace thing. It's bullshit, people. And I'll tell you why, okay? Because the parties that really should be meeting are not these heads of state, Putin and Poroshenko and the puppet Poroshenko and Merkel and Hollande. And I heard, oh, it was an emotional. No, it was angry is what it was. These are some of the things I heard about it. Oh, and Poroshenko said something about, he felt like he was being dumped on, in so many words, told too many things to do. Look, number one, if the West is so concerned about peace, why don't they have an envoy in there? Why don't they have somebody in there? Because they're the ones that are trouncing Putin every friggin' day and saying this and saying that and saying he's involved and that's the reason they're going to supply arms to Kiev and all that. So that's all BS, people. The right people aren't in there. The leaders of the rebellion in Luhansk and Donetsk, I'll get that out. They weren't there. And so is Putin speaking for them because he talks to them and requests certain things of them? And also the thing that I'm thinking too is like, okay, as a strategist and as somebody that looks at the big picture here, there's a lot of things missing here with this peace talk. In other words, give us a list of items that you've gone down and checked off, okay? And to me, the first item to check off is, yes, it was okay that that Crimea voted to go with Russia, and no, Russia did not annex Crimea. Okay, that's the first thing, because that supposedly is what all these sanctions are all about. And so let's get to the root of the thing. Let's go back to the very beginning if we're going to have talks and start from square one and say, okay, checklist number one, check off number one. We no longer are going to demonize Russia and blame them for what happened in Crimea after we created a coup. See, none of that's going to happen, people. The West, Kerry's sitting there just looking at this stuff. They're all sitting there. If they're such peace promoters of peace, and Obama Nobel Peace Prize, what a joke. What a friggin' joke. If you're such a Peace Prize, Pulitzer Peace Prize, I can hardly talk to that, Peace Prize winner, get your ass over there and negotiate with them. And sit down in front of them, Mr. Prez. It's disgusting. It's nowhere near what a real summit peace talk thing, any of that kind of stuff should be. They don't go down a checklist. They're not telling you, okay, what did we decide upon here exactly is gonna. And in the meantime, you got troops over in Kiev using this to rebuild their stockpile of weapons and mercenaries and lethal aid and blah, blah, blah. I said this the other day, but this is ridiculous. It's utterly friggin' ridiculous that people would even think that any kind of peace process, so it lasts a week or two. What's going to happen over there with the freedom fighters? Are they going to quit? Are they going to back off? Because I read that one of the agreements was that they had to give up former territory that they fought blood, sweat, and tears just to gain that ground. Okay? men and women fighting, freedom fighters, putting their lives to gain blood, sweat, and tears, baby. To gain that ground, to overtake that ground that the thugs from Kiev had taken over and gotten close enough to shell those cities. They're fighting tooth and nail. And they're going to give that up? I don't think that would be a good idea. Because that's just going to open the door for Kiev and the West and the lethal aid and the mercenaries to come flooding in and say, oops, well, oh, the peace process didn't work anyway. So, see, this is how this shit works. Anytime you have a peace talk or a peace summit, how many have you seen succeed? How many have you seen with Israel and the Palestinians? How many have you seen with other countries that ever worked? Ever friggin' worked? Name them. I'd like to know what they are. It's just a bunch of people blowing hot wind, okay, up everybody's crack about how this is going to fix the matter. No, the only way you fix the matter is to address the problems that caused it in the first place. And the problems that caused it aren't being addressed. And it's not transparent. The meetings aren't transparent. They're like behind closed doors. What are they agreeing to? I want to know what they're agreeing to. And people that are interested in the Ukrainian situation want to know what they're agreeing to. And I bet the rebels or the freedom fighters would want to know what they're agreeing to. Now, having said that, okay, I just want to make another, I might be way off base here, but it seems to me like Russia and Putin have taken way too much shit, okay? And let's go back a few months, however long it was when this charade started, and let's look at the fact that the people in Donetsk and Luhansk and southeastern Ukraine and all of those people, they wanted to do just the same thing that Crimea wanted to do. They wanted to go with Russia. But Russia stopped them. I don't know if that was a wise decision, looking back on it. I mean, Putin was trying to be diplomatic, okay? But look what's happened since that time. Since, if all those people would have voted and would have gone with Russia, chosen to be part of Russia, then that whole infrastructure and all those people that have been killed never would have happened. I mean, it might have happened, but maybe not to that degree. So I don't know if that was a good decision. That's just my opinion. I think Putin is being too kind, okay? I think he's being too quote-unquote diplomatic. Now, I'm not against the man at all, and you know how I feel about Obama and the West pushing this war agenda. But my take is, and I'd love to hear your comments, is Putin being too nice? I mean, yeah, there's strategy, and yeah, there's, let's be nice and work other areas and work behind the scene. And I'm not here to try to outguess his strategy or what his advisors are telling him to do. But to me, he needs to kick a little ass, okay? In some way, shape, or form. He needs to lay it down. Maybe he's laying it down with words. Maybe I'm second guessing here, but I can only go on what I'm seeing. And I can only go on what's being reported from the front in Ukraine. And what's being reported from the front is that they're encircling people and they're making progress. Okay? So we need not stop that progress just because they're having peace talks, I hope. And Putin shouldn't expect them to back off. I don't know what Putin's doing, but I always give him the benefit of the doubt that he's a master, and he is a master. But even master chess players don't always win, okay, if they make the wrong move, if they get distracted. And I'm wondering if Putin's getting distracted by the West and wanting to please them for some reason or hold off. Why doesn't he just do something? Why doesn't he just throw down the gauntlet and say, hey, party over, this is the way it's going to be? Because he has the power to do that, and those are his people. I just think he's taking way too much shit. He's taken way too much flack and heat, the Russian people, the whole thing. Way too much. And it's just going to keep going on and on and on with the sanction thing and this thing. Sanction. Sanction. Where did that word come from? Well, I used to see that in spy movies all the time. The Eiger sanction, the Lou sanction. Sanction meaning hit man, hit him, take him out. That's what sanction means, or used to mean, in the CIA. Now it's an asset. You just call in an asset. Don't you like the way they substitute words? You know, like a murderer is now called an asset. What a nice name for a murderer, an asset. An ass is more like it. I'm not thinking that these peace talks are going to do any friggin' good at all. Haven't done any good. Don't see them doing any good. There might be a lull in the action, and people might think there's some, but the West does not want peace. I don't care what kind of agreements. Kerry wasn't in there, was he? Obama wasn't in there. No representatives from the West were in there. That means that they think they're above it all. That they don't really have to participate in that, yet they're the whole driving engine behind the whole goddamn thing that started it. So they ought to get their asses in there and start flapping their lips. Put their butts on the line. It's just incredible to me. And what's going to happen? Well, you know what? You want me to look into my crystal ball about whether these peace talks are going to succeed or not? Whether any peace talks have ever succeeded when one side, the West, is anchored into this mindset of we need a friggin' war right now, because they make money off of war, and it stimulates the economy, and it takes people's minds off what's really going on. They need it. What do you think they're going to do? Oh, is it going to switch to ISIS now? I might sneeze here. If I do, I'm saying excuse me before I do it. Anyway, it means I'm blowing out some negative spirit that's needs to be blown out. It's mind-boggling what people will buy into with the so-called peace talks and the blah blah blah. Man, if they lie to you all the time, and then you can't find out anything about the peace talks, not really, not from the media. There's nobody. I mean, was there a press conference? I don't even know if there was a press conference after the Minsk 2. There shouldn't even be peace talks. That's what I'm saying. Basically, the bottom line is there's no need for peace talks because nothing was done wrong in the first place, except by the West. If anybody needs a peace talk, they need to sit down with the idiots in the West that started this whole thing and have a peace talk with them and give them a peace of mind, or whoever sits down with them, give them their peace of mind and set them straight, because they're baboons. Okay, they're monkeys. And you think these hawkish MFers in Congress and everything, and you know who I'm talking about. I don't have to mention any names. The hawks, the neocons, the warmongers. I don't even want to repeat their names because I don't like them. You think they're going to pay any attention to any peace process? This is laughable. This is laughable, people. For somebody that really wants to see a matter straightened out, somebody that really wants to see, killing and ravaging people and raping and pillaging and all this stuff, for somebody that really wants to see that stop, they ain't going to pay any attention to these peace talks. Tell that to the people that are sitting in their homes in these southeastern cities in Ukraine, and a fiery missile comes screaming down and blows them all to hell, blows them apart, body parts everywhere. I mean, I hate to get graphic, but that's what's happening. And little old ladies and men just gathering just a few belongings out of their whole entire house and having to leave. And guys' houses getting blown up and made into shooting galleries where the one side or the other has to hide or take over the poor person's house, and it's full of bullet holes. You tell that to those people about a peace talk. They can stick it where the sun don't shine with these peace talks. They don't do any good. The right people aren't there. I'll keep repeating it. The right people aren't there. It's not transparent. There's no list of how the thing started and what should be forgiven from the get-go. Okay? They'll never talk about that. Do they talk about that? Do they talk about... I think Putin's being too nice. I think he needs to just, get a little more heavy-handed. Because has he really cut off gas? Has he really done this? Has he really done that? I'm not getting on his case. I just want to see some action here. Because you know what? The only thing the West is going to understand is that kind of stuff. Something that hurts them. Something that hurts their pocketbook. Okay, basically, the central bankers. Something that hurts their pocketbook. Something that, a takedown of the financial system. It's been done against Russia, obviously, blatantly. What's Russia waiting for? Okay, now you guys give me a comment on this. And tell me what you think, because I know a lot of you out there are on the same page I am. Just scratching your head going, because see, this is just like when they had parlays and powwows with the Native Americans. This is another reason that I can see things. Okay? Did they send the Great White Father to personally speak with these people on the reservations, or did they send these lackey representatives that promised the natives all kinds of things? If you just sign this petition, if you just put your signature here, if you just do this, if you just do that, we'll guarantee you that you'll get land, and your land will be worth so much money, and we'll never encroach upon your land. And they broke every those were called treaties. And they broke every friggin' treaty, every one right after another, just tear it up, overlook it, do whatever you want to do, let white settlers come in, do, you know. We're taking over this land, Emma. Let's kill all the buffalo. Now, see, it's the same mentality. That's why I'm bringing this out. Broken promises. Broken promises. They make promise after promise after promise after promise, and they're always broken. And you know what? They always say the other guy did it. The other guy did it. It was his fault. He blah, 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 blah. In the first place, one of the things that Putin should say is, I don't want to be held accountable for anything that goes on in Ukraine or southeastern Ukraine. I don't want any more hogwash BS about what I'm doing and what I'm not doing over there. And if you don't stop it, I will do it. That's what he needs to say. He's being too damn nice. Or he's got some plan I don't even friggin' know about. Okay, which let's hope that's the case. But just even having Poroshenko in with, he's not even of the same caliber, like I said before. So what if his country's broke, but he personally, does he have money? Well, I guess so. He's the chocolate king. Probably runs all kinds of rackets on the side too, slave trading with young women, whatever. I would assume he's probably like a gangster. Gangster in one area, gangster in another. And that's all they are gangsters. Bunch of gangsters sitting around talking while people's blood's being spilled. I don't like it. And I think it's ridiculous. And I'm just looking at this from a strategical point of view. It's like, let's get real here, people. I can yell and scream and rant and rave about this if I want to. Because I see things, you know, it's not about which side wins or loses. It's just about, it's about the lying that goes on. It's about the deception. It's about our attentions being taken with this whole thing and nothing happened, just like everything. Maybe we should just disregard this whole goddamn thing. Just say whatever they do, we know it's bullshit. And it's going to end up, it's not going to end up with, you know, in a rose garden type atmosphere. How about reparations for all the people's lives that have been destroyed by the West? How about the Indians even asking for that? All their lives that were destroyed. All the trails of tears. You know, to me, the world is a trail of tears. That's, I guess, why I'm upset. The world is a trail of tears. Just like when the Cherokee people were made to march for miles and miles and miles and lost all kinds of people, and people just died and were left by the roadside. And the same thing happened to the Navajo people. They had a trail of tears too, and they were marched off to Bosque Redondo, a reservation that Kit Carson developed, who was kind of, I don't know about Kit Carson. Yes, he was a great frontiersman and he was a mountain man and all that. But you ask any Navajo what they think of Kit Carson, they don't even want to mention his name. He caused so much heartache and bloodshed and killed so many people and personally scalped Indians and everything else, yet he had 2 Indian wives. Talk about a conflicted mind. So this is what I'm talking about. Just the whole ball of wax from day one. And these continual peace talks. I mean, it's just, it makes me, Thunder, angry. It makes little lightning bolts come out of my ether, aura, whatever. I'm dispersing lightning bolts now. You want to see them? I better not do that. My computer might start acting up. I'm just saying, people, that's my opinion. You can take it or leave it. That's just my opinion. I kind of lean towards the Russian side because those people are real, and the Ukrainian side. And I know what the West is doing. I know their game. But what I don't understand is why these people are letting them, are bending over for them. 1 inch. Don't even turn your back on them. And retaliate. When somebody comes down on your, what if somebody demonized, what if the whole Chinese and Russian cultures and the whole Eurasian culture all of a sudden started demonizing the United States and saying that, putting out tons and tons of propaganda about Obama and what this he was and what that, I mean, heads of state of these countries, like heads of state of China, heads of state of Russia, Putin, the premier, all these people, all of them started just, the whole European Union, all just started piling on the U.S. As well they should. What if that happened? Would the West sit around and part of this is because of the Syrian thing too, because Putin stopped the whole Syrian bullshit when they were moving in there, and now they're circumventing it with ISIS. The West is. They're going around. They're going around the block. Okay. I just hate to see a bunch of, and I posted a few pictures of these people like Merkel and Poroshenko. You see the looks on their faces? These people look like peacemakers to you? They got these, oh God, I'm just suffering so bad, or I'm just so angry, or I'm just so distraught over this. Oh, really? Well, why don't you get your butts out on the front line with the fighters and see how distraught you get? Bunch of wimps. Bunch of pushovers. Bunch of lily-livered, white as a fucking piece of paper. They're not tribal. I'm almost amazed. I am amazed that Putin would even go to a meeting with these idiots after what they've done and said about him. And what's the point? What does he want? What is he trying to gain? You can tell I'm a little PO'd at Putin today. Because you know what? In the end, they're all a bunch of politicians riding on the dead backs of people, the slaughtered innocents. They're sitting there with peace talks. Peace this. Get some action going here and take the black-hearted ones off the face of this earth, Great Spirit. That's what I'm asking. I'm asking Great Spirit and the Spirit of the Four Directions and our great ancestral spirits to just clean the slate with all of these people. Not one of them's better than another. Not when they're playing with people's lives. Not one government's better than another. There's no government on this earth that's worth a shit, okay? None. No government. Cultures, yes, but governments, no. They're not worth a shit. Because they try to control and manipulate people in some kind of way. Tribal is where it's at. It's being tribal, and if you're gonna be a tribe, you gotta fight, okay, to be free and be that tribal. Evidently you gotta, it's almost like a survival of you have to fight for your freedom. Just like the people in Ukraine are doing, and my heart really is with them. It's not with these peacemakers and this bullshit that's going on and wherever they're meeting in their little plush hotel rooms. And do they take a sauna at night too? Do they go to the steam room? Do they have their little harlots and whatever come in at night? While the boys are laying their butts on the line, boys and women laying their butts on the line over on the front line there. I think this is I think I'm calling a spade today. Let's tell it like it is. You know, let's tell it like it is. It's a charade. It's a I don't want to use that word, but it's a cluster. Okay? That's what it is. Let's get real, people. We need to get real all over this world. We need to wake up and see what's really going on here. It's a bunch of greedy friggin' people ruling everything and doing little peace talks and playing games with countries and playing games with people's lives. Aren't you sick of it? Aren't you sick of your life being manipulated? Do something about it. Man, if you got to bear arms, bear arms. And I don't mean taking off your t-shirt. Didn't the founding fathers of this country say you have the right to have a well-regulated militia, blah, 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 blah? Didn't Crazy Horse even bear arms? And Sitting Bull? And that was true warriorship. Got a bunch of lily-livered people in the United States, that's all I gotta say. Sleepwalking, lily-livered, heads up their butts people. They need to wake up and quit buying into this, oh, they're having a peace talk. Anyway, Thunder gets on his pulpit, don't he? Yeah, I do. Goddamn right I do. It's fun. It's fun to, because you know what? I can't go out on the front lines because they wouldn't even let me out of this country anyway to do that. I can't go out there on the front lines. I can't go over to Ukraine. So what can I do? Well, I can speak up for those who I think are getting screwed over. I'm going to leave it there today before I make somebody mad. I hope I do. I hope Putin listens to this. And I hope Obama does too. Yeah, get your skinny ass over there if you're such a peace man. He ain't no peace man. I'll tell you who the real peace men were. The Iroquois Nation. For one, they were called the peacemakers. And how about Chief Joseph of the Nez Perce? There were some real people. Adios. Have a good one. Have a good day. Later on, people.